holiday for a week and now I drink tea black and I'm a changed woman and I don't understand why I never liked it black before, but I do. I have black tea. That's an update you didn't really need to know, but hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren and I make books about fandomy things and books. Did I just say I make books about fandomy things and books? No, I make videos about fandomy things and books. Okay, so as I mentioned with the black tea thing, I just got back off holiday and I decided that I was going to have a whole week where I did nothing but read books. And I accomplished that, which was so good because I struggle to do nothing. I work from home for most of the day and then I have a job in the evenings. And working from home means a lot of self-discipline because I still have to get a lot of stuff done, but I'm in my office where I'm surrounded by my things and my books and I'm at my house. So I have to show discipline to that and make sure that I actually get stuff done. So when I'm not doing something at home, I feel like I should be. So I don't tend to do nothing well. And the only time I tend to read at home anymore is like when I'm in the bath. That's sort of my reading time because I know I can't do anything else when I'm in the bath. Like I can't be on my computer, so I have to just be in the bath. So I do a lot of reading in there. So I said I was going to go on holiday and it was going to be a chilled out holiday because I went to Florida and New York earlier on this year, but I didn't stop on those holidays. I'm going to Disneyland Paris in a couple of weeks, but I'm not going to have time to sit and read during that. So, you know, so it's the same. So I wanted a holiday where all I did was read. And I did! So I thought I'd give you a current reading wrap up. Some of these books I did read on holiday and got through. Some of them I was reading before, and then give you a little update on what I want my reading life to look like for the rest of the year. I haven't caught up with you in a while and spoken about what I've been reading and what I want to read, so here we go. So the first book that I read on my holiday was Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, and I bloody loved this book. Oh my god, I actually cannot express how much I loved this book. I actually buddy read this with a friend of mine and we were gonna take it slow, and we were like, the first day we were gonna read 5 chapters and then discuss it, and obviously I was on holiday so we were just gonna discuss over Twitter. But we both came to the conclusion pretty quickly that we were not going to be able to slowly pace this book because all we wanted to do was binge it because it was so good. I am obsessed with this book. Oh my god. This book focuses on Alex, whose mum has become the first female president of the United States. So he is the first son and is kind of like famous. I mean, he's very well known. His mum is literally the president, so he has to attend lots of formal things, and some things that he has to attend involves Henry, one of the princes of England, and they don't like each other very much and they kind of have this like hate relationship. Like, it's not really a hate relationship, they just don't think they get on, and then it comes to the head at a royal wedding where the cake gets destroyed and Henry and Alex are to blame, so they have to put on a front and act like they are BFFs and they don't hate each other, and the kind of main families in the UK and America are actually getting on. But they realise that they then really do get on and they love each other, and it's so good! I bloody love this book. As an English person, which I am, I know that the royal family, whilst I love them, particularly the stuff that Harry and Meghan do for like different charities and stuff, and I mean Queen Liz is a gem, I am very aware of England's and the royal family's history and what they used to do, and I think the history isn't discussed enough outside of it being this big royal thing, when actually they did a lot of things bad, and England did a lot of bad things back in the day, and I feel like they did a lot of bad things. So this actually touched upon that, and Henry doesn't want his like inheritance because he's like, I don't want this money that's come from our family doing not so good things. And then it also talks about the American politics and how bad American politics could be, and I actually liked the realities of that, because usually books written about England are very romanticised and everyone just assumes that London is England and that there's not the rest of the country. So I actually really liked that in this was the case. Henry is the Prince of Wales, like we have other people as the Prince of Wales, but I really liked it, and it was obviously the struggles and different families with different kind of like sexualities and how they deal with it, and I just bloody love this whole thing. And it's great, and I would 100% recommend it, and it's absolute 5 out of 5 stars, and it's become one of my favourite books, and I love it so much, so please read it, it's so good. Then, on the theme of royalty, I read Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins, and this book disappointed me a little bit. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, so I didn't hate it, you know, but it didn't live up to what I thought it was going to be. I'd heard so many good things about it and it just disappointed me a little bit. This book focuses on Millie, who's kind of girlfriend, but not really her girlfriend, but kind of her girlfriend. She catches her kissing someone else, so she then just decides to get to apply for this like really important big school in Scotland, who is for the first year allowing females to attend, and she then applies, gets a full scholarship, attends, and then the Princess of Scotland is her roommate. Here's my problems. So while Scotland that has lovely views and mountains and lakes, I mean bits of Harry Potter are set in Scotland because that's where Hogwarts is. People try and argue this with me all the time that Hogwarts is not in Scotland. Yes, it is. It has some amazing views and it's beautiful. It's such a beautiful country. But it's not just that, there's a lot more to it. A bit like how when people think about London, they think about the London Eye and Big Ben, and nothing exists outside of that. Like, apparently everyone who's from England lives in that square around the Thames, and all of our houses look at the London Eye. No, not realistic. And this was not a realistic view, like version of Scotland. And no offence, but if the author isn't from the United Kingdom, the realities of the countries do not come across well in the books. And also, I know that it can be made up, but the last royal person in Scotland was like the 1700s, and they don't have one anymore, but it's never really like discussed, like why there's suddenly, like why there is a royal family in Scotland. It never really like touches upon how it continued. It's just kind of like, she's the Princess of Scotland. I don't know, it was just like an unrealistic view of Scotland, of how royalty would be treated in a particular school, and just, it was just sort of like, yeah, it just was not the most realistic. It was very like acquaintances to lovers, like really quick. But Millie and Flora, they were cute. I liked Flora's character. Millie, I don't really have an opinion on Millie as a character. Like, she was just kind of there. One thing that I do just want to add in, that I'm just adding in now and editing, that I forgot to mention, is that one thing I did like about this book is that Millie has a stepmother and she actually really gets on with her and really likes her, which is really rare in books. Like, usually it's an evil stepmother and she hates her and she came in and took over and all of this stuff, when actually this was a real healthy and kind of more realistic view on step parents, and I did appreciate that. But I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. There we go. Then another 5 out of, oh my god, this book, 5 out of 5 stars. I haven't cried at a book in such a long time. I sobbed. It just hit me. It was so emotional. I haven't felt this moved by a book since Aristotle and Dante discovered the secrets of the universe. It hasn't overtaken Ari and Dante. I don't think anything ever will, because that book just hit me in a way that I can never verbalize. But I wish I'd listened to everyone telling me to read this book years, like last year, the year before, like I should have done. Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. Oh my god. Oh my god. This book It's just so good. So this book is about Eliza, who is the creator of a webcomic called Monstrous Sea, and no one knows that she's a creator apart from 2 of her friends. So sort of online, she's this really popular illustrator and creator, and like Monstrous Sea has its own fandom which people would make fan art and write fan fiction about, and it has merchandise, and she makes a lot of money because of this, but she just goes like under this pseudonym, no one knows who she is. Then a new guy called Wallace joins at her school, and he is the most popular fan fiction writer of Monstrous Sea, and that his friends are all fans of it, and they get to know each other. But Eliza is anxious about certain things. She doesn't really go outside. She doesn't really like socialize. Her parents don't understand why she just wants to focus on her art and why she spends all the time on her computer, and that her friends are on her computer rather than being around in real life, which is something I was able to relate to because a lot of my friends I first met online, and I think that that's something which sort of the older generation doesn't seem to understand as much, and that was really good. But this book was just wonderful. Like, it was just so wonderful, and I just, oh my god, it's just so good. Like, I can't recommend this book enough. It moved me in ways I didn't think it would. It took me so by surprise, and I absolutely adored it. Then I read Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book is about a band called Daisy Jones and the Six, who kind of were the biggest thing in sort of like back in the day, and then they split up and no one knows why until now, where they are telling their story. Taylor Jenkins Reid is the author of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which was one of my favourite books of all time. I read it earlier this year, wished I'd read it before, and wished I'd listened to people a bit like Eliza. I loved The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo so much, so I was excited to read more from her. This book did not hit me in the same way that Evelyn Hugo did, and I know lots of people prefer Daisy Jones to Evelyn Hugo, but personally for me it's the other way around. I think it was just the way that this story was told. Whilst Evelyn Hugo is similar, as in it's Evelyn telling her story, that has more of a prose to it. There's more storytelling and story building, whereas this is kind of set out like an interview format, and I think that was what made me prefer Evelyn Hugo, but that's just writing style and what I prefer as a reader. I did enjoy this book, and I enjoyed the story, and I did care about what was happening to the characters, and I did find myself wanting to know why certain things had happened and what had happened between certain characters, and I was reading it thinking, I really don't want this to happen because they've just sorted this out and this is going on. So I did care about it, but it just didn't hit me the same way as Evelyn Hugo did. So I did only give this one 3.5 stars, but I think a lot of that is to do with the kind of story building of it, which was not there as much as it just sort of being like an interview format, which personally as a reader I don't like, because I like having that story building. But I would recommend it if you're a fan of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books and the characters that she creates and the kind of way she can make these people feel real. Like, this does feel like an actual band, and Evelyn Hugo felt like an actual actress who does exist, so that I love, and the realism of her characters I do love, so I would recommend her books so much. So those are the books that I read on my holiday, but I was reading another series before. You may have already seen my video about it, which I will link down below if you haven't. But that was the Twilight Saga by Stephanie Meyer, including The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner. Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, Short Second Life of Bree Tanner, Breaking Dawn. I had a brief overview of me rereading Twilight. I'm sure everyone knows what Twilight is, but if you don't, Bella Swan, who is 17, moves to Forks, Washington, which is a very small town, to live with her dad after her mum gets remarried, and they kind of are going on the road, so she thinks she'll move in with her dad, who she only sees every so often, and Bella hates Forks. Forks is rainy and not sunny where she usually lives in Arizona. No. Is it Arizona? Yes. No. She's from Arizona. Her mum moves to Jacksonville, which is in Florida. Can you tell I paid attention? So Bella moves to Forks, and in Forks she meets the mysterious Edward Cullen, who is a vampire. And that's everything from there. And that's the Twilight Saga. I read the Twilight Saga 10 years ago and have not read it since. But the first time I read it, I became obsessed with it, and then all the films are out, and I used to reread my favourite book, which was just Eclipse, and I used to reread my favourite parts, but I never fully reread the series, and they've been on my shelf for all of these years, and there's barely any space on my shelf as it is, so I looked down to them and thought, I need to once and for all make a decision of, is the nostalgia from my Twilight days still there, or do I hate these books now as much as I think I'm going to? I'm going to reread them and make that decision. Ultimately, these books are not good. I'm always so thankful of every single thing that these books gave me. They got me reading again, they got me introduced to so many of my favourite books, they got me introduced to BookTube. I made so many friends because of this book. I had so many experiences because of this series. I went to the premiere of Breaking Dawn Part 2. I met Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson and Taylor Lautner. That was amazing. I know so many people because of this, and I don't think I'd be the person that I am now if I hadn't had these books introduced in my life. And I'm never gonna not be grateful for that, but none of that nostalgia of the actual books is still there. So in my vlog where I reread them, which I said I will link down below, I do a little montage, and that made me like tear up a little bit because it did impact so much of my life, but the actual story, none of that's there. I don't care for it. Bella's annoying and uses pretty much everyone in her life, mainly Jacob. Edward is possessive and gross. Jacob is worse than I remember him being. And they have a half-vampire child called Renesmee that Jacob imprints on and grows really fast when logically she shouldn't grow fast because vampires don't age and humans age normally. And they call her Renesmee and the vampires sparkle. Like, why? I'm glad I reread them. I'm glad I've come to this decision now, and this is where we are with the Twilight Saga. So there we go. So that is what I have been reading recently. For the next couple of weeks, I need to get my ass in gear and finish the Percy Jackson / Rick Riordan books. I am on Blood of Olympus because House of Hades destroyed my soul. And I finished it, and then I went on to Twilight. So I need to read Blood of Olympus and get on that. Then I'm going to go on to the Magnus Chase books and then the Trials of Apollo books. There is a new Trials of Apollo book coming out soon, so hopefully I can get to it and read that. Got a couple of weeks to go, so that's good. I then want to read what comes out soon. There's a couple of releases. The Gentleman's Guide to Getting Lucky comes out soon by Mackenzie Lee, which so excited for. I just need more Monty and Percy in my life. And also Wayward Son, the sequel to Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, also comes out soon, which I'm super excited about. Also, I am planning on reading the Truly Devious series by Maureen Johnson by the end of the year. I'm super excited about this book. It is about Illingham Academy, which is kind of this really prestigious boarding school by Mr. Illingham, but when his wife and his daughter go missing, the kind of only clue was this really like mocking riddle, and no one ever found them. This disappearance became a big part of history and one of the most interesting and kind of mysterious disappearances in history. Then we have Stevie, who is kind of in love with true crime. I've said this before, she would definitely watch BuzzFeed Unsolved. Comes to the academy and she is set on discovering and kind of finally piecing together and solving this disappearance case. That is the point of the part of this one. There is a sequel, I believe it's called Vanishing Star, which I want to get as well, but I'm super excited to finally read this one. Then I want to read in December The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is currently acting as a tripod, so I can't show it to you. This is a really big high fantasy book that I'm super excited to delve into. It's been a long time since I've read something this high fantasy, so I'm really excited to delve into it. Then, if I have time, I want to try and reread the Harry Potters. I can usually get through the Potters very quickly, so I am planning on trying to do that and just getting my ass in gear and making sure I spend more time doing nothing when I have some free time and actually reading in that time, not just feeling guilty for not doing something when I've actually done all my work for the day and I cannot be doing something. So that is what I've been reading recently, and a look at my rest of my reading year for 2019, because there's 3 months of it left and that's it, and that's a joke. That is ridiculous. Wonderful. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, if you are new here, then I make videos a couple of times a week about books and fandom-y things, so if you want to stick around and join us, then you can do that. As usual, all the links to all my other social medias will be in the description down below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you're doing really, 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 really well, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!